about abolishing the Fed. There's some secrets that you might need to know. So, welcome back, everybody, to Brighten Up Sunshine, where every day is a new beginning. Today, we are going to talk about this topic, the Federal Reserve. It affects every single one of us, whether we realize it or not. What if I told you what you may not know, but some of you might, and that is it's not really federal, and it does not truly reserve anything. Imagine a hidden group making decisions about your money without you even knowing. Sounds like a movie, right? But it's real. And there's a growing movement to abolish the Fed. We're exploring the history in this video about it, why some world leaders like Donald Trump and even Putin criticize the Fed, and what this means for the future. So stay with me because it's going to be eye-opening. We have to know first, what is this thing we're talking about, the Federal Reserve? First things first, let's break down what the Fed really is. Well, a little history for you. It was actually established in 1913. Before the Fed, America didn't even have a central bank. Local banks and communities actually managed their money. But after several financial crises, Congress passed what we know as the Federal Reserve Act to create a central system, hoping that that would, help things out. Okay, what do I mean by it's not really federal? Well, despite its name, the Fed is not part of the government. It's a network of private banks with a board that makes crucial decisions about our economy. It operates independently, but has huge power over the country's financial health. So there's some key roles, like who controls interest rates? Well, of course, our interest rates are controlled by the Fed. This affects how much it costs to borrow money. Low rates mean cheaper loans, but can also lead to inflation, which we've seen a lot of here lately. High rates slow down the economy. And also it prints money. When the government needs more money, well, guess what? The good old Fed comes right along and creates it for the government. Sounds simple, but printing too much money actually devalues our dollar. So think about the economy like a big game of Monopoly. The Fed's the banker, deciding who gets the money and how much it's worth. But what if the banker isn't playing fair? That's a question to ask. Okay, the Fed has enormous power over your money, but it operates outside of the full government control. And that's why so many people are concerned about it. Why do people want to abolish the Fed? Let's dive into that together. I mean, it is a growing movement right now. Well, one reason is the Fed has too much power and too little accountability. Okay, we all know Donald Trump has been very vocal about the Fed, saying the Fed has too much influence over the economy and it isn't transparent. He blamed the Fed for slowing economic growth during his presidency. And there's a lot of secret decisions the Fed could be making behind closed doors. See, the Fed's meetings are private. Imagine someone's controlling your bank account, but not telling you why they're making certain decisions that's going to affect your bank account. Interesting, don't you think? What about debt and inflation? The Fed prints money to stimulate the economy. Thank you, Fed, especially during a crisis. But more money means each dollar is going to be worth less. And that is what we call inflation. And then the national debt, how does it affect that? See, the U.S. is already over $30 trillion in debt. I said over because it's hard to keep up with. I mean, once you realize how much $1 trillion is, that's hard to even imagine. You couldn't even fit it in a room. That's a lot of money. Much of this comes from borrowing by the Fed's policies, and some argue that without the Fed, we could reduce or eliminate this debt. Let me know if you think that's true. I'm just reporting. The global power is struggling, though, and some believe the Fed is part of a larger plan for a new world order. a theory that a few powerful individuals or groups want to control the entire world through money. Okay, Putin has criticized global financial systems, saying countries should control their own economies, and a lot of people agree with him. He claims organizations like the Fed creates dependency and control and loss of freedom. See, the more control the Fed has, the less financial freedom ordinary Americans feel. Many believe a decentralized system where local banks and communities have more control would be fairer. The movement to abolish the Fed is about taking power back from a central authority and giving it to the people. Let's take a look in history because I thought this was interesting. America without the Fed. Let's go back in time. Go back with me. Did you know America did not always have the Federal Reserve? As I said earlier in the video, before 1913, banks actually operated independently. And there were risks. If a bank failed, people would lose their savings. But there were also benefits. No single entity controlled the economy. But there was warnings from the founding fathers. Thomas Jefferson said, "I believe that the banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than the standing armies." And that was Thomas Jefferson. He feared the central bank. And giving it too much power would not be good because it was too much power to few people. And again, Andrew Jackson, 1830. I mean, he fought against a similar institution called the Second Bank of the United States. Jackson saw it was corrupt and shut it down. He believed the people, not private banks, should control the money. Again, let me know what you think. What changed in 1913? A series of financial panics changed, and that led Congress to believe the U.S. needed a central bank. At least that's what history tells us. But critics argue that the Fed has created actually more problems than it's ever solved, including inflation and national debt. See, the U.S. operated without a central bank for over a century, and some believe we were freer and more financially stable. But what would happen if we actually abolished the Fed today? Imagine we wake up tomorrow morning and the Fed is gone. Woohoo! What would change? Well, some believe there would be some pros here, like no more artificial inflation. The government could not just print money, which causes inflation. And this could actually stabilize prices and protect our savings. Okay, another thing, local control. States and communities could manage their own money, reducing the risk of a national crisis. So if a bank went belly up, it would just be in that state or community and everything wouldn't be tied together. And then there's some cons, like the short-term chaos. The economy actually relies on the Federal Reserve's decisions, and removing it suddenly could actually cause confusion. And some do believe there would be a new system that would be needed. We'd need a new way to regulate the banks and prevent a financial crisis. Globally, some countries are actually moving toward financial independence. Are they actually prepared for a world without a centralized control of the federal government? The Federal Reserve is not just a bank. It's about power, freedom, and your future. So that's why I made this video, so we could stay informed, stay empowered. Hopefully you found some value of it. At least it was entertaining. And remember, guys, the sun always rises. I'll see you in the next video. If you haven't already, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Thanks.